Hello, welcome to a special episode of my podcast, Useful Idiots. I am Akiva Bigman. Last week, Taaker Krlson aired an interview with Pastor Monther Isaac from Bethlehem, who made false claims about the living conditions of Christians under Israeli control. As a resident of Israel, familiar with the reality on the ground, I recognized immediately that these allegations are baseless and actually part of a Palestinian anti-Israeli propaganda. So to set the record straight, I spoke with Shaadi Khallul, an Israeli Christian leader who closely monitors what he describes as the Islamic ethnic cleansing of Christians in Israel in the Palestinian-controlled territories of Judea and Samaria and in the Gaza Strip. Before I start, I have a small request. This podcast is made possible solely by donations from our subscribers, good people who stand with us in spreading the truth about Israel. Please consider subscribing and joining us in combating anti-Israeli propaganda. You can find a subscription link in the description of this episode. Thank you very much for your support. Okay, so I have the honor to have on with us today Shaadi Khallul. Shaadi Khallul is a Israeli Christian. He served in the IDF. He's actually an officer in the IDF Reserve Force, and he heads a NGO called the Aramaic Christian Society in Israel. And Shaadi, it's a pleasure to have you on with us. We would like to discuss today certain lies that were spread out last week by Taaker Krlson about the status of Christians in Israel and Christians in the Palestinian territories. And it's a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Akiva, for hosting me and for allowing me to expose those lies and speak about the truth in Israel and about our status in Israel as a Christian, native Christians of the land. So, as I would like to start, I am Shaadi Khallul. I am a Christian Israeli Maronite citizen. I belong to the Aramaic people. I'm the founder and president of the NGO, non-profit organization called ICAA, Israeli Christian Aramaic NGO, with its Aramaic Center here in Gush Khalav in Upper Galilee. I am the founder also of the Christian Jewish Educational Leadership Youth Program that prepare for 7 months Christian youth and Jewish youth staying together, learning together, studying together, training together for serving better as leaders in the IDF and in the Israeli society toward coexistence between both communities and as a model for others to follow. That's what I am also dealing with. I'm dealing a lot of education, advocacy, and explaining Israel in a better way. And of course, advocating for my Christian community needs in Israel include building a Christian Aramaic school in Haifa, include building a Christian Aramaic town in Upper Galilee. All these things I'm dealing together in a positive Christian engagement with the state of Israel, trying to convince them to do the right thing to our community and expose the good face of Israel at the same time, the Jewish people.
Okay.
So now, regarding the status of Christians in Israel, that's very sad to see that some pastors, like Isaac Monther, that was hosted by Taaker Krlson last week, was spreading lies about Jews and Israel on behalf of our Christian people, native Christian people here in the land. To make the people and your audience or listeners aware of the current situation, we in Israel, in proper Israel, count about 180,000 native Christians. Most of us live here in the Galilee, while in the West Bank, which is Judea and Samaria, historical land, Bethlehem, for example, what we call in the Bible Bethlehem of Judea, this Bethlehem has today under Palestinian Authority, only 2% of Christians. 2% in the entire West Bank and 10% in Bethlehem only. So this is by itself tells you something, because when Israel was controlling Bethlehem until 1995, before Oslo Agreement and giving this town, holy town for Christianity, to the Palestinian Islamic Sharia law authority, that ruling it exactly as I described it, Sharia law ruled, because every Arab state, they base their behavior with others and with the people according to Sharia law that actually state their life and manage their life in daily basis. Christians under Palestinian Authority start migrating after they controlled this town with Arafat, because of Palestinian Arab oppression that ruled this town according to those Sharia laws. They didn't take the Sharia laws to the extreme because they actually fear the reaction of West and fear the reaction of not having a support from the West. They try to deceive people and bring people like Pastor Munzer to tell the world that the cause for Christian diminishing in Bethlehem and in the Judea and Samaria region is because of Israel occupation, while the main reason is the oppression of their neighbors, the Islamic radical neighbors, that they start coming to Bethlehem from Hebron and from other places in Judea and Samaria to make Bethlehem majority of Muslims. And the Christians felt actually by this changing reality fear, and we saw what happened in 2000 when there was intifada, the second intifada, they call it. The Palestinian Authority troops, terrorists, controlled Christian homes and start fighting Israeli soldiers, firing at Gilo or at Jerusalem neighborhood Gilo from the Christian homes. That actually brought retaliation to the sources of fire, destroying Christian homes, and those Christians was fed up of the situation and leaving the town of Bethlehem to the Western world. That's the main cause, and that's exactly the same technique the Islamic radical group, Shia group of Hezbollah using in Lebanon in Christian towns in South Lebanon. Exactly the same scenario. So that's the main cause for Christian migration, and Christians feel bad for this wall. I tell you why they feel bad for this wall, that protecting our citizens, Israeli citizens, from suicide bombers or bombing that was taking place back 20 years ago in a daily basis in Israeli cities. So we created this wall in order to protect our citizens. That's a country that respects its citizens and defends its citizens. Now, the Christians felt bad with this because this wall prevent them from actually feeling I call it feeling protected by Israel, or in continuous geographical continuation with the Israeli cities that protected them actually from those Palestinians that oppressing them. And that's the main thing why Christians in Bethlehem want to take down this wall. Not because of other reasons. They don't tell you this reason. But you need to hear this reason, because no one will tell you that other than people that brave and speak the truth. Because I have so many Christians in Bethlehem, friends, and in Bet Sahur, who contact me in private, and they tell me those things. They tell me how they are treated by their neighbors, by the Palestinian Authority police, by the courts in the Palestinian Authority, by actually confiscating their land by some mafia people from the gangs or the in ISIS method. They go and sit in part of their land and build their like home in part of the land, and they force them to sell the land for them, and if not, they will be actually hurt or threatened to death. And if they go to court, court cannot enforce because this guy this Muslim guy come from big tribe that no one can actually face him. And if they do face him, they will, the Christian will be actually hurted. And so what the Christians does in regular days, they just sell their land or this part to another Muslim tribe, a guy from another tribe, and they start fighting each other because Muslims, two tribes can fight each other, while we as Christians, we have small families and not big tribes like the Muslims have. So that's that's what's happening in reality in daily life, that Munter, this pastor, was deceiving people, not talking about it. Not Israel is the cause for this oppression of Christians in West Bank, in Judea and Samaria, in Gaza. It's the radical Muslim behaviors toward Christians that come from with a different culture, different mentality, very close to the Jewish people in somehow, because they based on the same book and the same Bible. We read the same books, the Old Testament and New Testament, as we call, or some call them. But this is actually what our culture is. And it's different from our neighbor, like the Islamic neighbors, that using this in their culture in a radical way, and Christians feel uncomfortable being there, or they need to adjust themselves to the life of the other side, which is different from their culture, or they leave. That's it. Simple.
So you're describing, actually, it's like medieval practices, like what we read in books about being a subject in a Islamic Arab country. Actually, it's really medieval stuff. Can you a few words about the numbers? Bethlehem used to be a majority of Christians. It was like 90 or 80% Christian, and now it's 10%. Am I correct?
Yes. That were the numbers until 1995 when Israel controlled Bethlehem. And after they left it and withdrew from there and gave the control to the Palestinian Authority led by Arafat, in order to Arafat completed his plan, his radical plan, Islamic radical plan against Christians in Lebanon, in Bethlehem. He wanted to actually empty and ethnic cleanse the Christians of Lebanon and control the whole Lebanon. And the Christians of Lebanon formed militia called the Lebanese forces back then that fought against Arafat and kicked him out of Lebanon. And he went to Tunisia. And when he came from Tunisia back, they brought him to this Oslo agreement, to the Palestinian Authority, who continue this ethnic cleansing against Christians in the Judea and Samaria region.
Right. So how come is it we don't hear this voice so much? You're saying there's so many Christians who fled Bethlehem and other cities under the Palestinian Authority control. They live in the West. They have no reason to be afraid anymore. How come we never hear them? We never hear this voice that you're voicing so.
Akiva, I want to tell you, first of all, and thank you for allowing me to raise up this voice, because so many Jews didn't help us raise this voice. Because so many Jews that control the media here, they didn't think that this voice is important. And you know what? Until Tucker Carlson was speaking badly against Jews in the way, accusing them of the Christian persecution here, then all of a sudden, so many people want to hear another voice and see the truth. So I am, in my way, I'm trying to lead policy and long-run policy and speak about it. And I don't want to treat the current reality and lies by like a firefighter. What I mean, when there's a fire, the firefighter come and try to, to take care of it. That's exactly what we are doing now.
Right.
While when I was working, and we are working here to fix things and to be more advanced than them, because I know their plan. I know what they talk about. I know their lies. We hear them. You hear these lies maybe once in a while when Tucker Carlson speak about it. I hear it every day. And I trying to build policy with the Jewish people to show things and make things better for both of us in this region as a people of a book that believe in the same book and with the same culture, that respect life, respect living together and coexistence with everyone having his own corner without oppressing each other. That's the way we are living actually, but we need to speak about it and expose it. And that's most of you, include you, you started by you saying Christian Arab. That's where the problem starts. Because many Christians are brainwashed in an educational system controlled by Muslims, forcing them to learn Islamic history, Arab history, not their own Christian Aramaic history. And by doing so, you are allowing the Arab side to win this battle against us and against you.
You're describing the Israeli formal educational system. You send your kids to school and they are taught that they're actually Arabs from a Christian religion, etc. And they're supposed to be part of the Arab collective and maybe have some kind of Palestinian identity. And you're trying to fight this. So we actually, us as Israel, as a state, we're actually digging our own grave here. This is what you're saying.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to fix here with some good leaders in our Jewish Israeli society, that they are the majority. And we need to explain to them these little things, how they are important for their own future and for our future as a Christian native minority here.
Right.
You are giving the Arabs so much in this country, so much, include controlling other populations in their educational system. And with all that, they don't still appreciate what you are doing for them. And you gave them a gift, that 1,400 years of Islamic conquest, they were not able to force on us an Arab identity. You established a state of Israel in 1948 and defined all non-Arabs who were Christians from different denominations in this land, native Christians, and even others, as Arabs. Why? Because maybe ignorance or not knowing enough or not willing to deal with these issues just for simplicity. And this simplicity caused you and us now this troubles, because some Christian leaders or some Christians that pretend to be leaders, like this guy who has maybe 10 people in his church and he's calling himself, I don't know what, leader, Pastor Munzer, that nobody knows him, by the way. Only I am not a pastor, but I am, as you know, I was a candidate for the Israeli parliament for the Knesset in 2015 to 2020. And only in my own movement, I have 10,500 people, more than his church. Okay. His church is 10 people, and he called himself pastor.
So what's his story? He's like he lives under the Palestinian authorities. He plays a game for them. He serves their interests.
My friend, the Christians, people, your audience, your listeners must know one very simple thing. Christians under Palestinian Authority and under Lebanese state and under Syrian state and under Iraqi state, they are second-class citizens. They are dhimmis, means infidels, means they are forced to pay tax service, tax protection, we call it. And if in the past, under Islamic states, tax protection or paying tax per being able to live in that land under Islamic rule with not harming your family or your people, now you're paying this by lip service. That's the tax you are paying. You need to pretend you are supporting and standing in solidarity with them so they don't harm you. And it's exactly the same thing with the Jews in Iran, who sometimes you feel like you hear them speaking against Israel,
right,
against Jewish brothers in the land of Israel. So that's the same thing. They're paying lip service. And people should be aware of that and not believing these people. And I invite Tucker Carlson, and I invite everyone who don't believe what I am saying or is like have a doubt of what I'm saying. I invite him to our Aram Galilee Center here in Upper Galilee, and I will show him the truth. We have in our center all research and evidence of what I am saying and what I am talking about. And I invite them to go to Nazareth to speak to local Christians in private, because they will not tell them the truth in open ways, and see how even in Nazareth, that was majority of Christians, today it is controlled by Muslim radical gangs who are using their tribe power to threaten Christian existence, to take tax protection from Christian families, from doctors in many different ways. We did a story in Christmas, just very little story. I will tell you how we'll describe the situation. King George Street in Nazareth. It was the majority of its stores were Christians. Today, you will find like hardly four stores still Christian.
Wow.
Now, I was there and I interviewed with another lady, a journalist from UK. We interviewed people, locals, about the Christian population, how they live, because it's like it was Christmas story. And I heard this story. A Christian doctor live in very beautiful house. He worked hard, he earned good money, and he built good house. Those gangs came to him, put at night hid weapon in his garden. And they went to police and complained that there is in this garden weapon.
Wow.
The police came, made a search, and he found the weapon. So they brought this doctor to investigate with him. The doctor said, I don't know nothing about this. I am doctor. I don't deal with these issues. So these gangs, same gangs, or some, from the family members, big family, they came, hey, you are the one who complained to the police about our weapon that was hidden there. And tell the police, you will be hurt. You need to pay either 200,000 shekel, or you will be attacked by us.
Wow.
What do you think this doctor did?
I assume he left.
He sold his house and left. But he didn't sell his house, my friend, to another Christian family. You know why? Because no one from the Christian families will go buy this house.
And I think this is a story of thousands of families in Nazareth today, right?
And it's happening in Bethlehem too, under the eyes of Palestinian authorities and under the eyes of this deceiver who spoke with Tucker Carlson, Munzer Isaac.
Yeah, so I would like to talk a little bit more about Nazareth and what's happening in Israel proper also. Nazareth used to be a majority of Christians, as you said, and today the numbers, I just looked it up, it's about like 30% Christian. It's not what it used to be. So the same process is happening here under Israeli direct control. We have our police, we have our law. It's a Western society, supposed to be. And even under our society, not in the Palestinian Authority, we have the same process as you just described. The Muslims are threatening the Christians and they're pushing them out. And where do these people go? They go abroad? They go to the West?
Well, that's what I wanted to speak with you about. Another evidence of the Jewish freedom that we enjoy here. The Jews that allow freedom in this country, that we enjoy this freedom of Jewish democratic state of Israel. We guess where we go and migrate. If we migrate from Nazareth, we go to Upper Nazareth, or what we call the Jewish city of Nazareth, or we go to Afula, or we go to Haifa, where Jews controlling the cities, and in those cities you have security, you have freedom, everyone lives in his own, they enjoy life, no one will attack you. And the Jews, living among Jews, this is you have a feel of freedom. Not, the Jews care about normal day, going to work, to school, come from school, enjoy their life, go to have their own faith. They don't attack you, they don't force you on anything. That's the way it works. And that's why many Christians feel safe to be in those cities where Jewish are the majorities and not under the Arab, which are Muslim majority.
Right.
That's where most of them go, and some of them prefer or decide to just leave the country and go to maybe Canada, to USA, to Cyprus, to Greece. That's what's happening, my friend. But the majority goes to Jewish cities.
Great. So this talk is very, very interesting. It's very important. I live here and I knew some of these issues, but not so much. And I'm very happy you found the time to speak with me and speak to my audience. Would you like to say something to conclusion? How you see the future? What are you optimistic about the future of Christians in Israel?
Look, I am optimistic in the future because I am a person of hope. I believe on our, sorry, but you need to hear that too, in our Messiah. And our Messiah is a hope. And Jesus is a hope for us. And he actually make our way that be always optimistic. And living here in this country with the Jewish people make me feel safe. I think that in the future, because of these developments that I just mentioned and this reality, we need to create also 1 or 2 Christian towns, native towns for Christians in the Galilee, and fix imperfections in our democracy. And for your audience to know, and I want them to know that, and they should know that Israel is like any democracy. Even your own democracies in the West is not perfect. They have imperfections. They have many mistakes that they did for other minorities or people, or they sometimes have ignorance about those minorities because the minority is a small community that maybe it's not the interest of the majority. And if the minority don't raise the voice, and ask and explain in the right way, who advocate for their own needs, nobody will know about them. And that's exactly what I'm doing with you and with others. And that's why I go and lobby in the Knesset and lobby the government and ministers. And that's why I work with the government and convince them to define us as Aramaic native community here. And I succeeded on that in 2014. So we are now recognized by the state of Israel officially as Aramaeans, which is Aramaic people, not Armenian, don't mistake. And this is what I'm working, also advocating for, also building the first Aramaic Maronite Christian town in Upper Galilee and make justice with our people. Yes, there was imperfection, and this is one of them. Let's not hide the truth. Let's speak about it so people will believe we are speaking the truth and not just trying to hide everything that is also wrong. That's reality. But the Jews did that because they didn't understand. And now when the Jews are strong and safe and secure, and we are together with them defending the country, they should be able to recognize this fact and allow us to build this only Christian Maronite Aramaic town where we have Aramaic center, where we have international Aramaic center, people from all faith and religions, Jews, Christians, and others who want to learn this Aramaic language that testify for the Jewish existence here, for the Jewish native existence here, and our existence is also a good thing to have for Israel and for us at the same time. That's what I am doing, and I think the future will bring a good things for both of us because we are a people of hope at the end.
Yeah, I do agree. Also, Jews have a Messiah, and we also believe in hope. So we have this in common. So thank you so very much for coming on, Shaadi. I wish you success with all your endeavors. Your success is ours, and I hope to see you around when I get up north to visit.
You are invited. You have home here. Come here. We have many also Jewish tombs of very, very important ones, like the parents of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai here in.
Right.
We have also other, Joel, the prophet here in our town. We have also St. Paul. The parents used to live in our town. John of Gush Chalav is very well famous person that fought the Romans here.
Right.
Our town. So it's time to come and unite Christian and Jews in this land and let them know about the truth and how we are connected as people and as faith and culture.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Bye-bye, Shaadi. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed this interview and found it valuable, please share it. Also, allow me to remind you that this is made possible only through the support of our subscribers. Please join us in the mission to spread the truth. You can find a link in the episode description. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to see you again soon.